Coming up on Mountain News this morning, authorities are still searching for answers after a Tesla Cybertruck explosion outside of the Trump International Hotel in Las Vegas. Plus, Governor Beshear takes a look back on 2024.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News This Morning.
Good morning and thanks for joining us. I'm Madison Carmouche. We are inching up to that 6 o'clock mark this morning, and today is January 2nd, 2025. Let's check in with meteorologist Megan Dusmall for a look at your forecast this morning. Megan, it's a new year in a new climate, essentially.
It really is. It was almost like we completely transitioned our weather. We had nice warm temperatures, a lot of rain, and now we're looking at really cold and some snow chances. So definitely a big change from 2024 already. But let's take a look out the door at that visibility. And luckily, you're not going to be experiencing much fog this morning. We could see some patches as you're traveling to those areas that have just a little bit more humidity. But overall, it's quite a dry morning, and those temperatures are also quite cold. But we're looking at that satellite and radar right now, and the main thing will just be those clouds in the sky. And we did have some bit of snow this morning, but it's since then tapered off and will pick back up as we're heading into the overnight hours and into your Friday. But again, for most of your day, you should expect to be nice and dry. Current temperatures, though, are on the colder side of things. We're hovering around that 32-degree mark this morning, and it's a little bit cooler as you're traveling towards Clintwood and Wise in the upper 20s. But for the next 12 hours, you'll be seeing those temperatures warm up gradually, hitting the high temperature in the upper 30s and low 40s by the time 3 p.m. rolls around. Madison.
All right. Excuse me. All right, Megan, thank you. Authorities in Las Vegas are investigating a Tesla Cybertruck explosion outside of the Trump International Hotel in Las Vegas. This happened just hours after the deadly attack in New Orleans. The explosion in Las Vegas is now being investigated as a possible act of terrorism. CBS's Jared Hill has the latest.
Caught on surveillance video, a Tesla Cybertruck exploding at the front door of Trump International Hotel in Las Vegas Wednesday morning.
We had three explosions.
Authorities are now investigating the incident as a possible act of terror.
It looks like mortars from like a firework.
Investigators say gas canisters, camp fuel canisters, and large firework mortars were found in the back of the vehicle. The truck had only just pulled up to the hotel.
It was sitting in the porte-cochere for about 15 seconds before it exploded.
One person inside of the Cybertruck was killed, 7 bystanders nearby injured, with 2 taken to the hospital and released. Tesla CEO Elon Musk, who's working as a government efficiency advisor for President-elect Donald Trump, posted on X, the evil knuckleheads picked the wrong vehicle for a terrorist attack. Cybertruck actually contained the explosion, noting not even the lobby doors were broken. As investigators search for answers, this is believed to be an isolated incident. The motive still unknown. Jared Hill, CBS News.
The person who died in the Cybertruck has not yet been identified. Police have noted similarities to the New Orleans incident, including both vehicles being rented from the site Turo. Investigators are looking into any connection. Investigators are searching for more answers after a man rammed his truck through a crowd of dozens of people in New Orleans yesterday. At least 15 people were killed and at least 39 people were injured. Now the attack has event planners throughout the country concerned about safety ahead of dozens of events planned throughout the year. Grayson Passmore spoke with a Lexington event organizer who says they start creating their safety plans a year out.
As the city turns 250 years old, there are many reasons to celebrate in Lexington this year. But as organizers plan events, promise to be bigger and better than ever, they've also had to put in place safety measures to match.
There's always a chance that something doesn't go the way that you plan it, but part of what you plan for is when things don't go the way they're supposed to.
Organizing the St. Patrick's Day Festival, Megan Maloney says they've worked with law enforcement and city officials to create a safety plan for this event for the past year.
And we know that our partners in public safety, Lexington Police, Lexington Fire, and the city Parks and Recreation staff are going to do everything that they can to make it safe, not only for participants, but for all of those who are coming down to enjoy it.
An increase in police presence is only one of the measures that will be in place.
Everyone looks at road closures and some of the parking restrictions that come with special events sort of as an annoyance oftentimes, but a lot of that really is part of a security plan to make sure that festival goers, that parade participants are all safe during those events.
Because Maloney knows people also need to continue celebrating the events that matter to them.
It's important to carry on some of those traditions. It's also very important for us to make sure that those events are put together in a way that people who come to them can feel safe.
In Lexington, Grayson Passmore, WKYT.
Often around this time of year, we pause to reflect back on some monumental moments. Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear says he is already thinking about how to keep the momentum moving forward. In 2024, Kentucky garnered national attention. Beshear says 2024 was a year of growth. He also says in this next legislative session, he hopes lawmakers tailor changes to draw more people to call the area home.
We've broken our export record, meaning we're now global. People are looking up to us instead of looking down on us. It is a good time for Kentucky.
The Commonwealth saw a record-breaking year for exports with more than $40 billion in products shipped. Kentucky lawmakers return to Frankfort next week for the 2025 session. The 30-day session means lawmakers have a tight time frame to work on legislation. And since it's a non-budget year, they are unlikely to fund new initiatives. Republicans, who overwhelmingly control the House and Senate, are expected to make cutting the state income tax an extra 0.5% their top priority. The new year brought big changes to Kentucky. One of those changes is the legalization of medical marijuana. Qualifying patients are officially able to apply for state registration cards. People with cancer, chronic pain, epilepsy, chronic nausea, and PTSD are some of the conditions covered. Though registering doesn't come with guidelines, the Bureau for Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives says you cannot own or buy a gun if you register to get medical cannabis. 48 dispensaries are allowed to operate across the state. Another law set to take effect soon has some state vaping businesses concerned. House Bill 11 was designed to keep vaping products away from kids, and it sets fines for businesses who break the law. But some say there is a lot of unintended consequences with the law, and those enforcing it could put some out of business. Tony Florence says the enforcement arms of the bill, passed with the intent to keep products away from kids, is the State Alcoholic Beverage Control Agency.
Has interpreted HB 11 in such a way that she's requiring a safe harbor certification document that doesn't exist for any product to stay on the market.
Lawrence says there's other lawsuits still working their way in both the state and federal.
A total of 5 businesses and the Kentucky Hemp Association filed a lawsuit that a Franklin Circuit judge dismissed in July. It was appealed, but a court of appeals rejected the appeal last month. Also starting this year, drivers looking to renew their driver's license in the Commonwealth might need to check in with an optometrist. Prior to this change, drivers only needed an eye exam when initially getting their driver's license. Now, drivers will need to complete their driver's vision testing certification form or pass an exam at the DMV at the time of their license renewal. Plus, a real ID is a requirement for some people in the U.S. this year. It is a new type of driver's license that lets people fly in the U.S. It will also allow access to certain nuclear power plants and federal facilities like courthouses. The change goes into effect May 7th. Tennessee lawmakers passed a law they say will help protect your kids. Parents now have to give children permission to use social media sites like Facebook and TikTok. The law also allows parents to see their child's account, set a time limit, and periods where a child cannot access their social media account. State Senator Richard Briggs says it will help children and teen health.
We're hearing from experts about the mental health difficulties that our young people's having, and much of that can be traced back to social media.
But how will this be regulated? Senator Briggs says the social media companies will figure it out. The law, nearly getting unanimous support in the House and Senate, could face some backlash. Lawmakers on both sides think there will be lawsuits over this. Pineville officially knows who will replace Senator-elect Scott Maiden after the Pineville City Council appointed and swore in Sean Fugate. I sat down with both of them to talk about what is ahead for the city.
Oh, that's going to be our #1 priority is to complete this project.
The nearly $8 million project is more than halfway complete as Pineville welcomes City Council member turned Mayor Sean Fugate.
You know, that there has been some rumor mill out there that I'm leaving because we're out of funds. Well, that's farthest from the truth. We have more than enough funds secured, and Sean knows that, and he knows where the funds are and how to get them.
Fugate served on the City Council for 10 years alongside former Mayor Scott Maiden.
I think you just understand a lot more about how the process works, funding, you know, the little things of how you can use money, and you've got to navigate that kind of thing, and it's a whole lot easier when you've been a part of that process.
Maiden says he is not abandoning his city, but helping them on a regional scale, and is confident Fugate can handle the job.
And I encourage the council that I hope that they would choose a council member. You know, Versailles just went through that and they couldn't agree on somebody, so the governor picked him and didn't even pick a council member.
Fugate believes his previous experience prepared him to build Pineville to its fullest potential.
We have a great town. We've got a great community. We're tight-knit, but we're welcoming, and there's no place I'd rather be. And
Fugate will complete the remaining 2 years of Maiden's 4-year term. Former Pineville Mayor and current 29th District Senator-elect Scott Maiden will be sworn in as senator on January 7th.
You're starting off the morning on a good foot. It is cold, but as you're looking at the hazards this morning, you're not expected to run into any this morning. Maybe still seeing a snowflake or two at the very, very tip of Logan County, West Virginia, but overall not looking at much fog, not looking at much snow, no rain, and the wind is pretty calm this morning. But here are those current temperatures, and as I mentioned, they are on the chillier side of things. A coat is needed, maybe even gloves or a scarf as you're heading out the door. We are hovering around that freezing mark, but we will be warming up slightly into those high temperatures in the upper 30s and low 40s, just a little bit below normal for this time of year, which is normally around the mid 40-degree mark. And as we're looking at satellite and radar, we are looking mostly at clouds this morning. We did again have that snowflake remaining from yesterday, and you could still see some falling in western Virginia. But overall, not too terrible of a morning, and the day will just be on the colder side of things. Stay with us. More mountain news and weather is on the way.